Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're back with the Tomb King vs. Beastmen showdown. It's going to be Ark in the Black facing off against the big bull himself, Torox the Brass Bull. So we are going to be going for a very defensive build. We have two Tomb Guard as well as the Kepler Guard, backed up by a couple elite halberds. The Beastmen do have some armor and plenty of large in their roster. Sometimes you'll see some wild brass bulls with their 130 armor, I think it is. Yeah, so having the halberds can help kind of grind him down in the late game. So we got two halberds. The elite front line, like I said, Ark in the Black going to be on his cackling necromancer chariot. Gives him some pretty good mobility. He's actually faster on the chariot than he is on the horse. So I find that in this matchup, bringing him on the chariot is a little bit safer because he can't quite be hunted down as easily by some of these foot-based Beastman characters like the Brass Bull and the Manticores, for example, have about the same speed as Arkin, so you can sometimes put some moves on them. In the backfield, two Nehekar Horsemen backed up by the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion and the Chosen of the Gods in a single archer. So I'd like to kind of throw in a single archer. I feel like if it's left alone, it can really pay for itself shooting Manticores, Jabberslights, Gorgons, all those sorts of big monsters. And of course, the big Titan. So there's a couple ways to play this matchup. You can go with the Titan. You can go with, a couple Tomb Scorpions if you want to. In my experience, though, I like the Titan. Has a big HP pool, so if it's being gooned by like two Manticores, I find that it holds its own, and also it does give the Winds of Magic boon to Ark in the Black, which is incredibly useful. So let's get this party started. So for my opponent here, the Great Anticity, he's got a front line of Ungor herds, backed up by Gore herds, a couple Ungor raiders, a massive flank of Centaurs with hounds. Two on each side, actually, so really looking to get into the cookie jar. And that's what I kind of like about my build, is that I don't really have that much I have to protect. It's really just a couple archer units. But against Beastmen, that's still very tough. Like, Beastmen are probably one of the best factions in the game, and they were even before their DLC at, like, swarming back lines and getting into the goods. So there's the Shem's Burning Gaze on the Brass Bull. Does a little bit of damage coming in from the Titan. Ark in the Black just kind of circling about. I was expecting, obviously, some big flank collapses coming in from the Centaurs and some witchcraft like that. Spirit Leech going down as well up on the big Manticore in the sky, trying to get it to rampage into like Tomb Guard or Halberds or something like that. And here on the flank, we get the big engagement from the Beastmen. So we do use the Skeleton Summon from Arkin right in front of the Centaurs, and they are able to partially blunt the charge, and also the Nehekar Horsemen will be countercharging. So overall, this engagement, I would say, is pretty good for my forces. My Skeleton Warrior summons take the brunt of the charge. I'm able to countercharge, and we will start giving that damage back with, pretty aggressive intent there. Here on this side, Tomb Guard getting swarmed pretty heavily. Anticity going for a massive overload. Manticore, double Centaur, plus Ungor herds. Shit's just getting real crazy, but the Kepler Guard doing quite well in the middle, forcing back the Gore herds very quickly. And here on this side, Doom and Darkness going down from Ark in the Black, going to be tanking the leadership of the Beastmen, but it doesn't actually lead to any breaks. So the Beastman leadership does hold pretty firm, while the Titan pretty much goes fisticuffs now with Torox the Brass Bull, which he will be doing for a large portion of this game. Archers just kind of standing and shooting, but Anticity here does grab his two Bray Shamans, pushes in on the Skeleton Archers that were trying to focus down the Manticore, but the good thing is we got the Manticore Rampage and Kepler Guard as well as the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion. And don't really mind the bounce power too much. This is actually how it started. The Beastmen have a little bit of a strange function in which they always start super far ahead on the bounce power, so doesn't really mean as much as it does in other matchups. But we are able to break that Manticore there. Kepler Guard generating massive value. And here on the flank, a bunch of hounds are coming in. So finally, Anticity finds a really nice opening in my backfield. Torox the Brass Bull going in pretty bulls deep. Trying to hunt down Ark in the Black here. But I do pull my Nehekar Horsemen from this engagement and pull them over to actually intercept the Brass Bull. Just trying to kind of keep him in check here. While the Titan, unfortunately, gets left in the dust. And that's one of the things that he's very cool in a build like this because it's a tight formation. He can generally cover a lot of surface area, but on that same note, mobile factions like Beastmen can really outmaneuver the Titan, whereas like a Chimerian War Sphinx or a Necro Sphinx, things like that can't really be outmaneuvered as easily. Now, Ark in the Black had to flee that formation. Unfortunately, that gosh darn Manticore was able to come back. Arkin is able to give it some business, and the hounds here are getting wrecked by the Horsemen pretty efficiently, and we got a pretty close fight on our hands. Here, the Brass Bull has moved back in to fight the big Titan, but also we do have Halberd support, so we have Tomb Guard Halberds. Hopefully some of them will be able to get some damage as we have this duel of titanic proportions. The Arrow Titan getting in there and getting some work in against the Brass Bull. However, a very nice usage of the Brass Body is active, which is going to be giving the Bull a massive amount of board save and honestly helps him pull ahead in this fight. Also, my Tomb Guard Halberds, a little bit kind of out of position to be supporting the Titan. Here on the flank, though, we do have Ark in the Black. He's able to finish off that Feral Manticore. I had to use the Doom and Darkness to break its leadership. The Horsemen there able to fend off the Hound units, but we are falling a little bit behind on the bounce of power. However, we have Kepler Guard, we have King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, and here we get another pretty clutch Skeleton Summon right on top of the Centaurs. But Anticity's been doing a pretty good job with Torox, just really getting a massive value train. The Titan is no cheap unit, and though the Brass Bull has taken a fair amount of damage, he has also given the business pretty good. I would imagine well over 2,000 value as he throws his giant brass body And so the Titan, yeah, only 1,000 value, but there's plenty of value to be accrued here on the battlefield. But yeah, man, and it's really kind of comes into perspective. So my wife actually has this this kind of antique in her family home in Poland, and it's made of brass. And I was like, God damn, that's so heavy. It's like just super heavy substance, right? So just imagine the brass bull getting in there. But the Titan probably going to be falling, but he did occupy the attention of much of the Beastmen army here. We have the Skeleton Summons, unfortunately, the Ushapti Great Bows, with just the sheer number of mobile units. It was too hard to protect them. And the Brave Shaman of Beasts pulling back here after Arkan the Black did run him over. Now Arkan is going to be going for the other caster. And yeah, we do get both the Beastmen casters. They don't really have that much left on the battlefield in all honesty, but neither do I. It's a pretty tight game here. Feral Manticore coming back in. I couldn't quite finish that one. The other one is pretty much broken and shattered, running for the hills. A couple archers still shooting and doing some good work. And the Staff and Bagash and the Liber Mortis going to be buffering my Tomb Guard Halberds and my King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, as they do some very, very solid work for sure. So the idea here is just kind of to stay alive and try and grind with my halberds and accumulate the resources to use another Skeleton Summon. The Skeleton Summons, in conjunction with the Doom and Darkness I was banking in my back pocket, could potentially be a tool to get a big break here. However, the Big Chungus himself still going strong with 1,000 HP, so it kind of puts me in a little bit of a predicament in which I need to either use Spirit Leech to kill the Brass Bull or Doom and Darkness to get like a mass break on the Beastmen army. So Arkan going to be falling back here while the Tomb Guard Halberds do an okay job grinding through Centaurs and Ungor Spearman herds. They do have silver shields against his firepower, so they have a couple tools to be relatively effective in that situation. Unfortunately, though, I think this might be the end for my Tomb Kings here, as Arkan the Black is hunted down by the Manticore. The curse does go down, and the big boy, of course, yeah, he's going to be able to hit very, very hard here. Torox does do fire damage too, which makes him pretty much an auto pick in the Tomb Kings matchup, in my opinion. He hits so hard. I mean, look at that, 600 damage. Arkan the Black gets just flipped upside down, trash canned, and sent back to the void from whence he came. GG, well played. Anticity played a great match there, and overall, I still like the build. I felt like it was a contested game at many points. The Titan, though, I think needed to be tighter. Like, overall, I kind of let my army get split up, and that was the problem. The Titan got isolated away from, like, Tomb Guard. He should have been fighting on, like, the Kepra Guard. Could have been much more useful, but still, you know, did fine. And here you can see Brass Bull ended up doing pretty nice with, you know, the beatdown in Arkan. Let's check the infantry, though. Kepra Guard, they always do so good. 1,200 value on them. The Tomb Guard kind of got out-traded. The Halberds, though, man, look at that. 1,200 value on this one and 750 here. So I don't know, maybe there's a bit of a school of thought of just going the Halberd variant just to get the anti-large against like the Manticores and, you know, the Centaurs and things like that. Because I do like this style, like that defensive box with like one unit to kind of force your opponent to come in, but I think it needs a little bit more depth in its position. So, and also I'm not really that sold on the Titan. However, you need something to kill Brass Bull. Yeah, Tomb Guard Halberds can do it, but honestly, he has enough mass to just push through them and give you a ton of problems. So let's go to the drawing board, because I feel like we're onto something. I was able to win with this build against several really, really high-end Beastmen players, King of the Dead and several other folks, but Anticity's build was definitely very nasty, and I feel like, you know, yeah, because if you don't have like some sort of a monster too against like the Manticores, it could be a little bit problematic. However, you know, Nakar Horsemen can typically handle a Manticore and trap it in place. So very well played to my opponent here. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel down in the description below, and now we'll be heading on over to the breakdown. Got a lot of fun replays to cast for you guys. So, Tomb Kings versus Beastmen. I do think it's actually not a bad matchup. Now, there was an old school style of play that used to work, but I don't really think it's a feasible option with the new Beastmen. Now, I still do like the Chariot. I feel like it's good for just kind of clearing things out, though it does make you a little bit of a bigger target. Though I feel like going on foot, you're just going to die to two Manticores and just get, you know, get the business. I do like the Doom and Darkness aspect of the Dread Knight kit. On top of that, maybe we just go for like 4 Tomb Guard Halberds, you know, and get like the Kepra Guard in the front, and then we can get a couple Nehekar Horsemen as well. I think more of those might be in order. They're very, very good against Beastmen Cavalry. Like, they trade super well with Centaurs, they trade well with the Hound units, they can pin down Manticores, and from there, I think we mix in a couple Carrion, like triple Carrion, maybe to attack the Manticores, right? I feel like 3 Carrion units could probably deal with the Manticores. As a matter of fact, we'll test that here in this video. But firstly, let's finish the build. Chosen of the Gods do the spray fire, but I think I'd rather get a basic Ushapti, just kind of looking back on it, because the basic Ushapti can more effectively, you know, focus fire SEMs, I think. I'm not 100%, you know, sure on that test, but okay, so we got a pretty elite line. Maybe we just go something like this to save money. Get a couple Skeleton Spears in the back. So this is like your front line. You have Skeleton Spears in the back to support. A little bit more anti-large. Melee defense difference is 42, whereas the Halberds have 47. Obviously less damage output, but you don't need that much. But we do need something to clear out Beastman Chaff. I feel like 3 of the Horsemen is probably enough. So do we bring something like Ushapti? I feel like no, because Ushapti won't be like super nice against the Manticores. And like they won't be able to really do a whole lot there. We could go for like a big scary, you know, Sphinx or something like that. This one does do fire and magic damage. We could go for like a basic Sphinx. You know, this might be better, honestly. It's more mobile. It has less HP, but it does have that juicy anti-large. So if it does have to fight, you know, the Brass Bull, honestly, you could probably win in a one-on-one fight. And yeah, you got a little bit more sustainability. You have the triple Carrion. Carrion are just not bad against Beastmen in general, I feel. So I feel like this build would just be more efficient overall. So give it a try. I feel like Tomb Kings have an okay matchup versus Beastmen. I just feel like he outplayed me in some ways. My build was a little bit suboptimal. So yeah, give it a try. Let me know what you guys find. So now we will do some testing here. So let's get a Tomb King as well as triple Carrion and see how they fare against, like, you know what? We could even bring like 2 Manticores, right? So we'll just bring the Beast Lord. We'll strip his ability so it doesn't like affect the fighting. And we'll get 2 Manticores here and we'll load in. And yeah, we'll see you in just a second. All right, we're back. Let's do this. So we're going to grab the Carrion, just kind of fly forward. It's an AI test, so it's not really going to be the best, but I'm curious how... I'm sure the Manticores will win. I think 3v1, the Carrion can like burn down a Manticore, and though the Carrion would cost more in a 3-to-1 ratio, I still feel like they have a lot of other uses in this matchup, like chasing things off that you're able to break. So we're going to send in the Carrion, see how they fare here. Carrions do have, of course, have the quote-unquote undead unbreakability. And, you know, what's their weapon strength? I don't think it's too terrible. Yeah, it's like 40 or something like that, so... All right, we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding while they fight. It seems like they're doing some okay damage for sure. We are starting to take casualties. The binding is critical, but I mean, this is an efficient trade. So like you could swarm ahead and like just like tar pit a Manticore. Like, yeah, this is actually really good. Holy shit. Yeah, because double Manticore is such like a nightmare because they're just so good at killing the Tomb King's characters. And like the fact that there's 2 Manticores here, you're trading basically like the amount of gold. Yeah, look at this. They're actually going to win. Like you could potentially like, then I could have taken one and like chased that one down. But instead, we're going to swarm back across. Now we might actually end up losing this. But like, yeah, like with a little bit of proper chase, you could probably win these aerial duels. And that is a very, very cost-effective trade, in my opinion. Because Manticores, like, this is worth protecting your Lord and your different characters and things like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that test. And I think that was kind of a helpful look at that matchup. And aside from that, we'll see you next time. We'll be back with the Bone Daddy soon. And that is it for now. Cheers.